that happens when chaos takes the stage. Cringe and drama, laughter, rage. Roll initiative and brace your mind for the horror stories players leave behind.
Oh,
Alex,
all right.
we're back. We're back
Yes.
with some more horror stories today, this fine
Finally.
summer afternoon. Well, evening for you, afternoon for me. And we have a special story today, a special horror story. Alex's very own horror story of a rules lawyer who doesn't even have any knowledge of the rules, just loves to argue. So let's hear this amazing horror story.
I don't know if it is going to be all of that amazing. This is my way to tease the public, saying that this horror story is not going to be all of that special. No, it is going to be the funniest one, of course.
I want to see raw emotion. I want you to flip over your table at some point.
We'll see. We'll
All right.
see. So we got to know each other at a session, of course. We had a group of 3 players, 1 DM and 2 players, and occasionally we had another player joining us from time to time because of his schedule issues. One day I told you that I made a session with some experiments, mostly that psychology experiments when people wanted the players should have a level up, but for that they had to interact to each other over some items, and it was not all of that story wise. Yeah, it is not like a story, but I wanted it to be precisely each of player had his part. They didn't know anything about that. It was a complete mystery for all of them. It was planned, but none of them had any idea that anybody else had some plans. So it was the most. Mostly, I don't like. I can join in players pretty quickly and pretty easily. It is not a big deal, story wise. But at this parent session, it was really a big deal. So one of my players asked if our mutual acquaintance can join a game. He is very interested in D&D, and we both know the guy. I knew him not all that well, saw him a couple of times, and he is a nice guy, and we hang out in his venue also. So I told, yeah, why not? It was a week before the session. So we had a lot of time to prepare, to make the character, to integrate him to the story. I could work out something about the campaign, about this particular session to be compelling and awesome for everybody, and especially for me in the first place, of course. So I asked him, I DM'd him, and I asked him if he needs some material, if he needs to read something about the D&D, what he does know, does he need any help with the character creation?
Mm-hmm.
I said, no, I can do it myself. It is okay. I sent him like, okay, this is the basic principles of character creations. Just roll with it. And I sent him some word I prepared for him, like for a couple of pages to what to pay attention to
Okay.
while creating a character. I needed a concept at least of a character, of course. I told him the level of a character and everything like that. So about 2 days before that, I didn't see anything about any information about his character. And the one time we met at a street, and I saw him and I said, "Oh, Steve." I will call him Steve. He's not Steve, of course, because we are Russians. So I said, "Oh, hey, Steve, what's up? Are you going to come to this Friday? Are we meeting up? You ready for that?" I say, "Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, okay." I told him, you know what? You have not a lot of days. I told you, I need a character soon. This is really important, bro. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can take your time. You have a couple of hours, basically. Otherwise, I don't know what to tell you.
No
This is going to be,
surprises, right?
yeah,
No
no
last
surprises at
minute
this
character
session.
surprise.
Nothing like that.
Okay.
The day X comes, I've never received any information about his character or even if he is going to join. The day X come, and what a surprise! When I enter the guest room, we were playing at the other guy's house who was joining from time to time,
Yeah.
and he was sitting there at the table.
And he never
Like,
communicated anything about his character?
not about his character. I didn't even know that he was coming.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Okay.
He didn't tell me that anything, and I was like, Steve, I didn't expect to see you, so I told you that you should have sent me a character sheet, but I didn't want to give out information that it was pre-planned session and it
Yeah.
was something else. I didn't want anybody to even have an idea, a glimpse of it,
Yeah.
because everything is going to be ruined, and if it all was so thin ice, you know.
Yeah.
So I had to roll with that because almost every time it is not a big deal, and I had some people joining in last minutes, and even though I told them that it's not the best idea, but it is fine. I can
Yeah.
integrate them in story easily.
Sure.
It is
It's just,
mostly
let me see if I understand. So, this particular session, you had a story, and each character knew part of it, but it was a mystery, right? Each character knew their own part of it, but now you have a surprise character who doesn't know any of it or anything
yeah,
about it, and it's nearly impossible for you to communicate it to him without tipping off everybody else.
more than that, yes, and
Okay.
more than that. None of the players knew that anybody except them. So one player thought only I have the story.
Right.
Everybody else is oblivious. They are just playing. Only
Yeah.
I, and each of them had this. By the end of the session, only one player told me that he kind of figured out that it was pre-planned.
Yeah.
None of them. I revealed at the very end after the session, and they were surprised. What?
Yeah.
What? Like, so it should have been mystery for everybody else, and suddenly there is this guy.
No
Suddenly there is
plan,
this guy.
no character, nothing. He just shows up
At
and
least he had a character. At least
Well,
he had a
yeah.
character.
but his character
But
wasn't integrated into the story because you didn't know what he was
they
even doing.
they made a character half an hour before I came. I was a little bit late, so when I came, he was already there, finishing his char list. Character list. And he has never tried a D&D before.
Yeah.
All right, and I told him that you probably gonna be a spectator more. Good. I still integrated him there. It wasn't all that ideal, but it worked all right. After that, we talked about that. I told him that you know what, it was pre-planned session. You knew. By the way, it turned out awesome. The best session ever for me, for my players. Everybody had a lot of blast, and the epic ending. I think that I will remember it for years to come. Definitely,
Nice.
it is something that can't be repeated because they know that they can expect from me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before that, they didn't have any idea.
Okay. I'm following it. So you've got a group who's each has their own piece of a puzzle, of a mystery. They only know what they know. They don't even know that the other players were given information. They think only they were. And you have one guy that just shows up last minute, rolls up a character real quick, and he's not connected to this at all. He's
Yes.
just in it, almost like a spectator, but he has agency. He can act as his character, but he doesn't know what's going on or really have any connection to what's going on.
It turned out a little bit well because he brought in some chaos that made the session even more fun.
Okay.
Actually, but
that's
I
fair.
just because I rolled with it also,
Yeah.
and we all had fun, and he brought a little more chaos to that, so I wasn't all that mad, and the session turned out to be great.
Yeah.
So I wasn't pissed at him. More than that, their stories contradicted to each other. They had aims that contradict to each other,
Yeah.
and they had to make a decision for the party. Their characters had to grow. If they had a choice, they could stay, and they had this choice. They could stay at their point and have more reward, but for that they have to act a little bit against their companions.
Okay.
For example, one guy had a very difficult task to make fool of himself, and he
Okay.
was like a lord and all of that, bravade. He was like
Bravado. Yeah.
bravado. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he hated one NPC, a kobold, and he was a dragonborn, and he hated him as a player and as a character. He just despised this NPC because he knew that it is a goblin the doblin. And he was like, no, not this fucking thing. So he could either to be a servant of this kobold, to basically drag him on his shoulder and to follow his orders of this kobold in order to complete his mission, or he could ruin a union of his companion, another dragonborn girl who was in relationship with another girl NPC.
Okay.
So the easiest way for him, and he had a possibility to do
Yeah.
that, because she also had some things that made her contradict with the librarian.
Right.
Because she was a cleric and librarian was a cleric of another god, and this particular, she had a mission to contradict, to make this NPC make an altar for her god in her library, in her temple, basically. And
Yeah.
those gods are opposites.
Yeah.
One is for freedom, one is for law. So she had that, and he had a good opportunity to do that. He chose not to, and decided to do that. It was very honorable. And by the end of the session, the dragonborn girl, even proposed to an NPC in this ritual that she made in the library. It was so beautiful.
Yeah.
I also added the music to that. We almost cried out tears.
It sounds fun. It sounds like each of them was given a task and they could accomplish the task in multiple ways, but some of the ways might give them greater rewards, but they would have to betray their team. And other ways might give them less rewards and not have to betray their teams, or they could do none of it and maybe not get any reward at all.
Not level up.
Yeah, not level up.
It was a task for level up. It was a task for level up.
Okay.
So, he was.
Yeah, I like it. I like that you gave them choice, and it gave them an opportunity to grow their character in a new way based on their decisions.
More than that, nobody ever would have known that they made that choice. He could make the quarrel without her knowing that.
Yeah.
And everybody of them had this choice. So it was completely, and I told them as players that I will never reveal that they made this choice. It will be between two of us. You just make a choice without any consequences from me.
That's fun. You're almost testing their loyalty to each other in the game. to a certain extent, or their loyalty to their deity or whatever else their goals that they had for themselves. Yeah, I like it. So
Ye-
tell me, something had to have gone wrong. This sounds like
Um,
a great session. Where's the horror story part?
it was the great session, but after
Yeah.
that, I decided that he can join our party. The other guy who could make it or not, who had some schedule issues,
Yeah.
we decided not to roll with that. He was okay with that because we switched the day from Saturday to Friday, and he told that on Fridays I'm not available at all. On Saturdays I can sometimes can't, but on Fridays it is almost never working out
Okay.
for me.
So that's fair. So he left the campaign and this new guy stayed
Joined
on
in.
permanently.
Yes,
Okay.
he joined in. Right after that, troubles began to start. Oh,
we go.
on the other session, he even brought 2 pizzas. We discussed that with him. He apologized. I told him that it is not okay. That it is not also okay for board games, but for D&D, it is crucial to know, for DM to know, because we prepare the whole game, and you see how it turned out.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Is that the guy?
It is my daughter.
Oh, that's your daughter? What did she put? What does that mean?
It is me.
Oh, she's just identifying herself.
Yeah.
I like it.
Oh, god damn. Полина, привет.
Is she gonna tell on you?
Yeah. She doesn't know English all that well,
Oh, okay.
hopefully.
She's recording this and she's gonna run it through a translator and play it for this guy.
This guy, she doesn't know him,
Oh, okay, good.
but he
Alright.
does know the channel. He doesn't speak English all that well, but he can. Yeah, I think that at some point he probably will hear all that. Hopefully we will stay friends, but I'm going to roast him anyway.
Okay, here we go. Because you just said the last thing you said was, "Here's where it started to go wrong."
It
So-
started to go terribly wrong after
All
that.
right, let's hear it. I'm
As a
ready.
person,
I'm
he
ready.
is fine. As a player, he is shit. So as a person, we discussed that, and he even brought 2 pizzas, which was awesome because
Yeah.
nobody brings anybody anything to my tables. Only me. I make popcorn,
Yeah,
and a girl, she accidentally brings something also to
Yeah.
drink or to eat something. Another guy doesn't bring anything ever. He is like he doesn't know the social interaction all that well.
okay.
So I'm not in like I'm okay with him totally.
Yeah.
So the Steve brought in 2 pizzas. It was fine. No, it was awesome. It was awesome. Yes, but then started to argue with the decisions of DM. And what I say always, do not argue with the DM. So he came up with the ridiculous ideas. He could do one quest 10 different ways. He chooses, first of all, he can't figure out which way to. And when he comes up with an idea, he comes up with a terrible one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in our party, we don't give devices to anybody. We can cringe, we can face palm,
Yeah.
but we never will force a player to do something.
Yeah.
He has to do it himself.
Yeah.
figure
So
out
you keep the
himself.
metagaming to a minimum.
Yes, minimum metagaming.
Okay.
So he brought tons of metagaming to the game.
It sounds like it.
Mm. So when the fight started, he was arguing, why do they have these spells? Why do they? They hit me? And I roll in dice. Sometimes I show what I roll. Sometimes I don't have time. I'm not like I can show it. No, it is no big deal for me. Show my results of my dices.
Yeah.
But for that, I had to stand up, and throw a dice to in the middle of a table so everybody could see. And at the middle of this fight, it wasn't all of that important, so I just rolled behind the screen for
Yeah.
myself. And he even accused me in cheating. Of
Yeah.
cheating.
That's not cool.
This is terrible. This is
Yeah.
a big no. Nobody can accuse without any evidence me of cheating, and I will not play with a cheater. Not in D&D, not in board games. I will not sit in the same table with a cheater. I don't
Yeah.
like people who ruin games while cheating.
Yeah.
It is a big no. So for
I
these
agree.
accusations, I told him calmly, but I told him very strictly that it is a big insult, especially if you don't have any evidence and you just you're cheating with the dice. This is a big insult and a big no. I told him that. He stopped doing that.
Okay.
But still argued with all the decisions. Why do they hit me? Why do they hit her? Why do they use this force? Why do they grapple? Oh, we are going to die. What's the point to continue if we are already losing? So everything was every
Yeah.
decision mobs did. He argued with everything. Every time he couldn't hit them because they had like 15 AC,
Yeah.
and he rolls something like 14, and I can't hit them with a 14. Are you what? Are they dragons or what is it? 14? Are you seriously? We're only level 5. And it's just, dude, come on.
Dude, level
Stop.
armor class 15 is not even that high.
Yes, it is not.
It's not that high. He just sounds like he just wants to argue about everything. I have a statement or a question that whenever people start metagaming like that in one of my games, I'll ask them, who are you asking? Like this question you're talking about, right? Like, why are they grappling? What are you asking the enemy who's grappling you? Why they're grappling you? Who are you asking?
Yeah.
I'm not in the game. I'm the DM. I'm not in the game. So you can't be asking me questions through your character.
True.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So yeah, we told him something like that also.
Yeah.
That they see you, they beat you, dude.
Yeah.
What's the question? What's the question?
Do you use like in-game actions to decide that? Like, for example, if I throw a firebolt at somebody, at a bad guy, then they're probably coming for me. Or if I'm the first one through the door, they're going to see me first. They're going to come for me first.
Well, something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So you
They can
use
see
their
that-
actions to determine who goes after who.
or the basic logic.
Yeah.
They see a guy who is more tough and he is like that. They are going after him.
A bigger
More-
danger.
Or
Or go
cleric
weaker
starts
one.
to cast something really offensive, really dangerous to them. They start chasing him.
Yeah, that makes sense. I kind of use the intelligence of the monster too. Like if they're skeletons or zombies, they're going to go after whoever's closest. But if
Yeah.
they're intelligent, then they might go after the healer first.
So those were bandits, also with some magic.
Yeah.
So they shoot missiles.
Yeah.
And all of that. So they were intelligent enough.
They're intelligent
Decide
enough to pick targets. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he had started to argue when he was playing a druid and he turned into a wolf form, and he started argue with him being able to cast in wolf form. We
Yeah.
had to spend 15 minutes deciding if a wolf can cast spells, and I told him strictly no. wolf cannot. But I'm a druid. I have a mind of a wolf. Yes, but you don't have a mouth and tongue like a wolf.
Yeah.
You
How
don't
are
have
you doing?
fingers.
Yeah. How are you doing the somatic components? How are you moving your hands around to cast the spell if you're in a wolf form?
The funniest thing is every single turn the argument repeated the very same arguments every single turn. I tell him, you can't cast, you can fight in a wolf form, but you can't cast
Yeah.
this. Okay, I will try to hit him with my claws. He misses because he rolls 14 the
Yeah.
next turn. He is very upset. He is, "No, this is ridiculous. You're cheating." Oh, okay. No, no, you're not cheating. I'm exaggerating a lot. He didn't
Yeah.
look that, but he was dragging the mood down by
Yeah. Big
making
time.
the faces, exaggerate like expressions, and what's point to fight if we are already losing? Do you see? I can't even hit them. What are we going to do now? This is a TPK. That's everybody go home. Something like that. The next turn. Now, Steve, your turn. Your move. Do it. I wanna cast a missile on him. Dude, you are in a wolf form. We just spoke about that.
We just talked about this.
Yeah.
Maybe he has like short-term memory loss.
I have no idea. He seems
Maybe.
like intelligent, good dude outside of the indie, but when he starts to play, he's clueless.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because what I'm telling, he got into a jail for being a little bit stupid for some stupid things they've done. They got into a jail
Yeah.
after breaking out of his cell. We had to hint him what to do a little.
Yeah. To get. Yeah.
Because
Okay.
he couldn't figure out himself, and it was very obvious thing. But if he really wanted to go out, and he really wanted to go out because he was sitting there and I'm in a cell in jail, what can I do? Dude, there are some goblins in the cage and they are trying to break through. You can help them. You have some spells that can make their advances
Yeah.
buff them a little bit, and they are already working on that.
Yeah.
So dude they are basically goblins ask him, can you help?
Yeah, so they finally gave it away. I do the same thing in games. Like some groups are really good at puzzles or stuff like that, figuring things out, and some groups aren't. So if they don't figure it out right away, I just have them roll an intelligence check, roll a history check, roll something that will give you a hint. And then I just start hinting because I don't want to spend all day on one puzzle.
Right, it wasn't in a puzzle. He wanted to go out. He could do that several other ways, but he wanted to get breakthrough, and it was actually like that. Those goblins were the ones the characters caught before, two sessions before that. They were there for reasonable reasons, and they were holding in cells.
Yeah.
So it was all story wise. It was all compelling, pretty much. So long story short, he broke through the cell, and he was in the guardian's castle, or the prison. There are a lot of guardians. He figured out that he turns into a giant spider and almost starts running in front of guardians. And I'm telling him, dude, they are going to notice you. How do they notice me? You are a giant spider, bro.
Yeah.
And they know you are a druid, so probably they are going to notice you. So what can I do? And I just start describing. And you see this hole, and there is a huge ceiling with the curtains, the big windows with the huge curtains, and you see all of that, and he can't figure out what to do. What would you do? Probably if you are a giant spider, maybe hide behind those curtains. Though there were a lot of opportunities for him as well, which he
Yeah.
completely missed. For example, those goblins who whom mm, he helped to escape the prison. They are not very smart guys, so they rushed through the main entrance, and all the guards were chasing them.
Yeah.
He could use this commotion and try to sneak out.
Yeah. Why didn't he just turn into a regular spider and crawl out?
Because I don't allow turn into a small thing
Oh,
like a fly or spider. It has to be a little bit reasonable dimension. So
okay.
I don't really like when dragons, all these huge creatures, can turn into just a human. It doesn't make sense. I don't know. I just don't like this idea. So if a
Okay.
druid can turn into a little fly, okay, it is a giant spider, but it is not all of that big. And also, the commotion is pretty big. It is a big
Yeah.
deal. Two
Okay.
prisoners rush through. They start fighting because they gathered their weapons from the warehouse. So
Yeah.
they are armored and they are dangerous, and they are in good terms with him. Also, he um, could make friends with them. So
Okay.
there was a big commotion he
Yeah.
could use, or he could stay there, or he could find other ways. It's every time there are a lot of ways to solve what to do, and just come up with an idea, and I will see if it works out or not. I will not shut any ideas down. Not
Yeah.
any, but most of ideas I will let players go with them.
Yeah.
Just say
Even bad
something.
ideas, we'll make a roll for it.
We will make a roll for it and see.
Yeah.
Yes, and with the good ideas, we will make rolls also.
Yeah.
But this is how I lead, how I make games.
Yeah. That is the game. I mean, they tell
Yeah.
you what they want to do. You set a DC for it. They roll. They either make it or they don't make it, and then stuff happens.
Yeah.
That's the game.
He decides to wait all of this commotion in front of everybody on a ceiling of the hall. And I'm telling this, you have to understand that when the guards come back, there are like 10 of them, and one of them will look up.
Yeah.
I don't even need to roll. He
It just
will
makes sense.
eventually.
They're gonna somebody's gonna notice.
Yes. They will spot you, and this is not going to end well. Just for you to know, you can choose this option, but just
Yeah.
this just to paint pictures that he always comes up with the worst scenarios, with
Yeah.
the worst decisions. He gets mad when his plans don't work out, when they even couldn't work out. For example, just sit on a ceiling for the whole time. What is the next step? Even
Yeah.
though, okay, even nobody can spot you on a ceiling, right? What are you going to do next?
Yeah.
Sitting there like, for a month?
Right.
I
What's
don't
the
know.
plan? Let's keep the game
Yeah,
moving.
right, right.
What are the rest of the players doing all this time?
It
Because it
wasn't all
sounds like
that.
this guy was in jail, but the rest weren't. So this was like him just dominating the whole game and really doing nothing.
It wasn't like that.
No.
He had his 10 minutes, and they had their 50 minutes.
Okay, so
Something
you're
like that.
going
And
back and
also-
forth between groups.
Yes. For example, the goblins succeeded. We get to the players,
Yeah.
and you break in the cell from the cell. We get you search for your weapons and the stuff from other players. Okay, you didn't find them. We get back to the players.
Okay.
So Anyway, this turned out really good. It turned out it was D&D magic, because every time D&D magic is playing its role, it's always surprises me. Even that also turned out really good. Interesting story wise. So I kept playing, inviting the guy, especially since we were hanging in his venue. After that, he is a really nice one. And but at the same time, he started to hit on one of players, on a girl.
Uh-oh.
Mm, he made a lot of advances in character.
Oh, in character or both?
It is hard to tell that it was both.
Yeah.
I will say that it was in character. I can definitely say that they were uncomfortable in character. If he was hitting in real life, I don't know.
You didn't
I
you didn't feel that way. It
Yes, I don't-
seemed
I
like
don't.
it was in character. Okay.
Yes, pretty much, because he's hitting on every NPC when this girl plays with us or not. He doesn't care. He hits on everybody.
Okay. So
And-
he's one of those players that's just romancing everybody.
Yes, yes.
All right.
He's seducing spiders, my bro.
Why?
Yes.
Okay. He should have maybe get in that slime game. He can seduce some slimes
Yes.
from yesterday.
You see, we have a table for every player and
Yeah.
for every DM. We have to make them meet and play those weird games.
Yeah. That's not my game. I'm probably not that DM.
This brought a lot of this brought the girl down, because she couldn't after that she couldn't play her romances, and she likes that, and those bring in the game very good mood, and I really like that. She
Yeah.
has quarrels with NPC. We don't focus on them, but they just happen, and they happen randomly. Sometimes she doesn't like plan on doing it, but it always happens. It happens rarely, but it happens on point.
Yeah.
It is not pointless. It always makes sense. So I not only allow them it, not that I encourage it, but I like it.
Yeah.
I'm not uncomfortable with that.
Yeah, I'm not really
Especially
uncomfortable
since
with it
we-
either. I like you said, I want it to make sense. I don't want you to just hit on every table, chair, or spider in the game,
Yeah, yeah. For
because that's
example,
just
she has
pointless.
this. She has this librarian. We told about it.
Yeah.
That. And that's all. She doesn't hit on everybody she
Yeah.
meets, and it also made sense. She even rolled, because how they got known to each other. She rolled it.
Yeah,
The first in my head, the NPC was a librarian, but she was like all the type. She was old, and not pretty,
yeah,
like ugly librarian. But then they needed something from the librarian, and the girl said, like, Alex, can I seduce her? Now, I didn't describe the librarian, though.
Yeah.
Let's roll the dice, and the dice will decide if she is even pretty. And the dice has decided that she is pretty, and after that, it just happened by itself,
yeah,
all by the dice decisions.
yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
So, but Steve hits on everybody. He hits on his teammate as well. She is uncomfortable with that. She can't play as she likes, and I see that the frustration grows, not only in her but in me as well, because he is arguing with everything. The third guy is oblivious, because he is not all that good in social in interactions.
Yeah, so he's just
he-
waiting for his turn, and then he does whatever his character does, and he doesn't care about all this social stuff.
He doesn't. He can't see that the mood is down. That
Yeah.
everybody is like the game is not like it used to be. We had a blast, and now every game is dragging down. The
Yeah.
atmosphere is darkening and darkening. We even we even last games we even went home without saying proper bye. I always hug players before saying them bye. Like this was a
Yeah.
good game. We hug and all that. And the last games we just only yeah bye bye.
Yeah. That's
It
sad.
was that bad.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
bad.
He was oblivious on that. He can't spot. He was yeah. It was a great session. I had a blast and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But the girl is out. She is going to come back in the middle of July. We are waiting for her. So we are trying a new system, the Fate. And the DM, I wasn't DMing anymore. Another guy started to DM.
Yeah.
Let's call him. How we'll call him? John.
Okay. It's not me though. It's not me, I
Yeah.
promise.
Right. His name is Alex, but we will mirror. So
Okay.
he's also Alex. Yeah.
All right. So we have two Alexes. But we're calling him
But-
John.
Yeah, we'll call
All
him
right.
John. So
So
John
he's
is now
running
DM.
Fate. He's running the new game in the Fate system, but this guy, this argumentative guy, is still in the group.
Yeah, so the group basically is Alex, Steve, and me. Oh, John, Steve, and me.
Okay.
3 of us. We are trying to play Fate, and he got even more terrible with the decisions. I don't know why, but he can't. We had an encounter in Fight, so there was Medusa, Minotaurus,
Yeah.
and 2 golems. One of the golems was an NPC he was hitting on. Also, because she was a girl, he rolled for that. We all right. She's a girl. Okay, and it just that happened that I brought them with us to a journey. Not to a journey, but to a mission.
Yeah.
They were supposed to show us the hidden path. I also rolled for that as well. I didn't know how the fights go in Fate at all, so I was a little bit afraid to go there alone
Yeah.
with only Steve in my team, who is basically clueless about how to do.
He's a
things.
problem.
Yeah. So they lost another fight and turned into golems and sided with Medusa and Minotaurus. I
Yeah.
was okay with the TPK if it is fun, it is fine, and I thought that it's almost impossible, but I still run with it, trying to defeat them. Steve, first of all, those guys were killed by spiders and turned into golems behind the screen. He was captured by spiders. I had to rescue him from spiders because all he could do to escape from the spiders is trying to seduce spiders. Shit. At that point, I made fun. Okay, I told him that, oh, this spider, look, she gives you a look. something is about to happen. Yeah,
They're winking like yesterday,
yeah.
right? They start
Crazy.
winking creepily and
There is a possibility of fade to black. Yeah.
yeah.
I was just joking because John doesn't play these games. He hates romances. He doesn't he
Yeah.
doesn't understand the whole concept of intersexual conversation. He is out of these games.
Yeah.
Like
He
completely.
just
is
wants he
oblivious.
wants to play Fate and he doesn't care about all of that interpersonal stuff.
In real life as well. He is,
Yeah, sounds like
it is not. It
Okay.
is- I'm out. Yeah. But he has to because the guy always pushes this. He hates that. John completely hates that, but he rolls with it as a good
Yeah.
DM, and he rolls with it pretty all right. Good, I'd say even. Cheers to all the Johns and the
Yeah.
DMs who can roll with whatever players want, except for when it is fade to black without any descriptions of what is happening. Yeah,
Yeah.
but still,
I,
there's
I don't really have to deal with that very much in a lot of my games. Once in a while, but that's fine. When it comes up, and it's in the story, and I don't care. But I think I would probably try to teach this guy a lesson as the DM, and maybe let him seduce the spider. And like some spiders, they eat their mate. So I would let him seduce the spider and then see if it eats its mate. And then he's got to fight it to the death. And either his character dies or wins the fight. But that's what I
John.
probably would have.
If it would have happened, we would be witnessing a flipped table.
Yeah. Sounds
I'm
like it.
telling you, I don't even doubt that. I think that it is going to be at least an extremely ragey rage quit.
Have you guys pulled this guy aside and just like above the table, not in character, and just said, dude, you got to stop this behavior. We're playing a game.
Several times.
Yeah.
At one time at session 0, not for Fade, but when we were switching the DM, there was a session 0, and he started to ruin the campaign, started to ruin session 0 basically.
Yeah.
And I just told him that, dude, you are doing something wrong. Yeah, you have to reconsider your behavior and what you are doing. This is like, he doesn't understand that there are consequences. He can do whatever he wants and he can get with whatever he prefers, but when there are consequences, so he is extremely arguable.
Yeah.
He argues with every DM's decision. It is so frustrating and energy drifting.
Yeah.
So confrontational.
Yeah. I'd probably have to remove that player from the game. And understandably, it's difficult because if there's only 2 players and the DM, if you remove him from the game, you don't really have a game anymore until your third person comes back. But I personally, I'm not going to a game every week that I don't look forward to.
Yes. This is what is going to happen, and not only going to happen, but I basically, after the last session, I basically told that I'm waiting for Daria. I'm not playing with us 3. No.
Yeah.
We are going to play 3, and let's be really cautious in bringing in new players.
Yeah.
Very extremely cautious about that.
I agree. I mean, I think, whatever the rules are that everybody agrees on at session 0, you just got to roll with it. I don't really tolerate very much arguing with me in the games. I do allow players to play 2014 rules or 2024 rules, whichever they prefer. So I will ask them to describe the spell that they're casting, because they could be different between the 2 rule sets. So describe what happens. Do I make a dex save? Do you roll to hit? Whatever.
True.
You can tell me that stuff and we'll do the rolls. But if you want to argue about something, we're going to do it after session. And I will correct the rule. And I'm not changing the ruling in the moment, though. This just happened. This is a good example of like players not knowing what they're doing with like newer players. I have a game where I have a player who's new and doesn't really know what they're doing. And this is an online game. So I've got one guy who's kind of like a rules lawyer, and he's rules lawyering everyone. And I've told him, look, let me handle the rules. You handle your character. Stop rules lawyering the rest of the players. I don't need an assistant DM.
I'm very interested in you telling this story, but I have
Okay.
to tell you that it is a stream, and someone may, if you're okay with that, I'm all ears.
No, I'm okay with it. In this particular game, I don't think anybody would. It wouldn't matter.
Okay.
It wouldn't
All right,
matter. And I'm
so-
not going to mention any names or anything, but
All right.
this person will constantly argue about rules. And one character had like a crazy amount of movement on their character. And he starts arguing about you can't possibly have all of that and blah, blah, blah. And
How
I just
many-
told
how
him,
many
look,
did-
I'll deal with it after session. I'll take a look at their character sheet. And see what's causing that additional movement, and we'll deal with it before tomorrow's session. Turned out they had a feat. There's a feat. I think it's called roving or something like that. Roving, that gives them additional movement, a climbing speed, and a swimming speed if they take this feat, which they did. So it was legit. So we're just wasting game time arguing about something that was legit the whole time. Another day, one of the characters has Firebolt, the cantrip Firebolt, and all the characters are supposed to be level 6. But a new character didn't really know how to level his character on D&D Beyond, so he was still at level 4. So when he cast Firebolt at level 4, it's a D10 damage, 1d10.
Mhm.
At level 6, level 5 actually, it goes up to 2d10s. Firebolt, right?
Right.
But he didn't know that. So when he rolled damage, he rolled 1d10, and this guy starts arguing again. It should be 2d10, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, look, the guy rolled his damage. He told me what the damage is. I applied that to the character he was attacking, or the creature he was attacking. We're not arguing about people's damage. I told you this. I will look into it after the game, and we will figure out what is wrong on his character sheet.
Probably a good move from you, but I would disagree, because in this case, I think that he corrected you, not lawyering. But you gave me
Yeah, but he's not
good
correcting
thing.
me. It's not my character sheet that's wrong. It's this other character, and we're just dragging the game to a halt. I'm not going to stop the game so one player can level their character and everybody else is sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah, but just roll another d10. Just saying, dude.
Yeah.
Just roll another d10. That's it. That's not
Yeah.
good stopping the game.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not big about stopping the game for nonsense. Like if you have 10
I
different
mean, you
skills,
could allow him to roll another d10.
yeah, I could, but I'm not trying to stop the whole game for one thing. I don't care how much damage they do. I tell you, you hit, you roll damage, you tell me. If you forget stuff, we're not going back, right? Like you forgot to use some skill that you have that causes more damage. Okay, well, remember that next time.
Okay.
We're not
Alright.
going back and retroactively adding damage, because what happens if that extra damage now that you forgot about until 5 players later would have killed that creature? And now
True.
everything we've
No.
done
If it
since
is-
then.
If it is the same turn, for example, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, like I rolled like 5, and rules were like what? 2d6, 2d10,
Yeah.
you rolled 5 damage.
Yeah.
No, I roll only 1d10. This is when you can be corrected and say roll another one. If it is
Yeah.
another turn,
Yeah.
totally.
This
no.
is multiple
And-
turns later.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. And also, of course, if you if you game like do games like this, I wouldn't argue with that at
Yeah.
all. But for me, it will be okay if a player will tell me like, hold on, he didn't know that. Let's give him a chance to reroll. I say,
Yeah.
Oh, all right. But not retrospectively. If
Yeah.
there was just another turn, I would say no. Also, yeah.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
you
In
told
this
me,
case,
and
was-
you reminded me.
I'm thinking that this player who keeps interrupting with rules changes and interpretations is looking up the rule and then 3 more players go, and then they find the rule and say, "Oh, this should have been well, that was 5 people ago. We're not
No,
going
no,
back."
no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no. No,
So
if you're
we'll
going
fix it.
to go
Yeah.
reading rules, if you know the rules, it is one story.
Yeah.
If you have to read rules and after that, it is for mutual decision.
Yeah.
In my games, you can do it, but mostly I just when I'm a player, I never do that. I just whatever DM says.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing with anything, even if it is not in the book. Even, but if I know, I would tell that. Well,
Yeah.
maybe this is like it should be like this, but you remind me. Hold on. You
Go
remind
ahead.
me before I forgot. I was also a little bit in the wrong there when he was ruining the session 0. I was also in the wrong and was a little bit of that player because the girl pointed out also that, and because sometimes I got frustrated with the guy, and I was telling him. Sometimes I was telling him that what he can't do instead of a DM. But the DM was very new. It was his first session, and we decided to make the session 0 as an actual session
Yeah.
when the characters will meet. So they had a concept of their characters, only concept, and we wanted to figure out our story together.
Yeah.
So in that, sometimes I also told him that you are there, you don't hear us talking, you don't hear guards talking, you can't do that, you can't do that. And it was wrong from my side also. But at this point, I was really frustrated,
Yeah.
pretty much. And I corrected myself. In our last game when it was Fate, I never gave him any advice. And I managed to defeat all of those Medusa and the Minotaur and both
Yeah.
golems with very little help of the guy because he was grappled by a golem all that time with a girl golem he was hitting on previously before she became a golem. I was grappled with a golem as well. But I came up with an idea. What can you do? You are grappled with a golem, right? He holds you like that.
Yeah.
You can't do much. And I just like, what can I do? I'm trying to hit him in the nuts between his legs. But he's a
Yeah.
golem. Let's see if he has something left alive. Let's roll. It is going to be this difficult. Okay, let's hope. And I roll high. And yeah, you hit him. He actually releases you.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. Otherwise, I will come up with some other ideas or try to roll for
Yeah.
strength.
There's ways
something.
there's ways within the rules to break a grapple. It's a strength versus strength check.
But we are talking about Fate.
Yeah, maybe it's different in
This
Fate.
different a little bit.
Yeah.
But anyway, he didn't come up with any idea except for I am seducing the golem.
So that's all he does. Like, does he even carry
Okay,
weapons or anything? He just seduces stuff.
in Fate, he rolled with an alchemist. So he constantly, the only solution for every situation he had was, I'm drinking a potion that makes me invisible. I drink a potion that makes me invincible.
Yeah.
I'm drinking a potion that makes me lets me fly. Everything he has tons of potions and he tries to drink all of them. The
So you
DM straight up,
make up any potion you want and drink it, and you get that
he
ability.
can't come up with any solution. So his solution was I'm drinking the potion, not I'm rolling if I have this potion, not if this is even possible to have such a
Yeah.
potion. But so when we got to the point when we were grappled with the golems, I broke free. There were 3 other enemies also to deal with, and I moved to another section. In a Fate, it is the battlefield is divided by sections. So if you are in one section, You can't interact with the enemies that are in another section, even if they are pretty close. So I move to another section from the guy and deal with the enemies over there. He tries to seduce her. It doesn't work out
Yeah.
because at some point the DM he also repeats to do that. He
Yeah.
really tries. He passes his turn to telling her, babies, something like
Yeah.
don't you? Hey, whoa! Even though she didn't reply to his advances in the first place before she became a golem, she was like, "Go fuck yourself," almost "go fuck yourself."
Yeah.
Told him straight up. He still tries to seduce her, and it doesn't work. Surprise,
Course.
surprise! It doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Shocker.
What else? Yeah. I'm fighting with the monsters. I'm rolling high.
Yeah.
I'm prepared to die, of course, but I'm come up with this different crazy ideas. For example, there is Minotaurus, and in front of me there is a golem and there is a Medusa. So Minotaurus is rushing towards me with his with his
His
head
horns.
bent.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to hit me with his horns. What I'm doing, I'm trying to place golem between me and the Minotaurus.
Yeah.
So he hits the golem. He breaks the golem.
Yeah.
He also has this his head also a little bit messed up. So it works well. Awesome, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Meantime, Stevie is hugging with a golem girl who doesn't do much about him either. She just holds him. He is trying to seduce her. We're telling him, dude, you are not going to roll to seduce a golem, even legendary. DM says it is going to be legendary, and I'm saying like even legendary probably won't do much, even if you seduce her. I guess come up with something else, just do something, because he is dragging out. What can I do? I'm grappled.
Yeah.
This is game over. This is it. What can I do? I can do nothing because he gives
Okay.
up
So for you,
very
it's game
easily.
over.
We kind of encourage him, and he's before seducing, yeah, he tries every single turn over and over. He tries, I'm drinking a potion of strength, I'm drinking potion of becoming a dragon, I'm drinking potion of that. Dude, you are grappled, you can't drink. Your hands are like that. Not only you don't have these potions, you
Yeah.
can't drink them. If you want to drink them, okay, try to roll. It is going to be legendary. Why legendary? I can't roll that. Yeah, no, I'm not rolling legendary. Why legendary? I'm just drinking the potion. Why can't I drink potion? Because you're
Yeah.
grappled. Your
Yeah.
hands are tied. But why can't I drink a potion? Because you grappled.
Yeah.
Your hands. We are even showing him how it looks. And I'm showing him I can't drink. You see,
Okay.
even
Yeah.
if I find a potion of strength or invincibility or becoming a dragon, I can't even drink it because
It doesn't matter. You don't have the potion to drink it, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, even if you do have, it's still. Finally, I went to make a tea.
Yeah.
While he was taking his turn, I will just, all right, I'm leaving you because this is going to be. They were arguing about the drinking potion, then seducing, and it happens each turn. And I know it is going to take like 5 minutes. I have 5 minutes to make some coffee or tea by myself.
Might as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going out. When I come back, he came up with a solution. I don't know if DM advised him, but I don't think that he did.
Yeah.
But he actually came up with a okay solution.
Yes.
He finds
Something
a potion.
besides magical
He
potion
finds-
appears and pours itself into your mouth.
He finds a love potion because he is a lover boy. He finds a love potion, and he I don't know. He broke it to the golem or made her drink it, but he
Yeah.
rolled really high,
Yeah.
and she really released him. At this point, I think the DM a little bit played in his favor. I think because after that, he rolls also dices. Well, he is. No, I don't think that he did. I think that he is not all that strict, but he hates cheating as well as me.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't play alone anything. He would argue till the. At first, I thought that he was mm, allowing. How do you say that a person who allows things? There
Lenient.
is a. Oh, yeah, okay, something like that. But he is not. He's. This is going to be that. If it is impossible, it is
Yeah.
impossible. If
Yeah.
it is possible but legendary, it is going to be legendary. And I'm not playing your game. You are playing my game.
Yeah.
He was strict in that. So I think that it really turned out well for him eventually.
Yeah. Eventually, you're going to
But
make a really high roll. If you just
yeah,
keep trying the same thing over and over and over again, eventually you'll make a high enough roll.
he didn't have to make the legendary roll. He
Yeah.
found the potion. He found it because he had a bonus for that. Because his trait is trying to seduce everybody,
Yeah.
and if you say that you have this aspect, you have some bonuses. It
Yeah.
adds up
And
in
some
fate.
abilities or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. It gives you some bonuses to your rolls. So he rolled pretty high with all of that.
Hmm.
But anyway, we were talking about something in the middle of the game. We were talking also about something in chat, and Daria is also in this chat.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, you're playing Fate," and he types in chat, "Yes, for the last time." Chat. Dude, you are playing Fate for the last time.
Yeah.
We're loving it. Yeah.
The rest of us are going to start
Yeah.
playing again as soon as Daria's back. Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, you're kind of in a tough spot because you have a small group and one of your players is away. So it's either let him continue to play and be a disruption or
It's not
end the
disruption.
game until you get that person back so that you can play again.
So DM found another two players. We are going to try with them. They are English speaking though. So
Okay.
I'm not sure that the Daria can speak English. So I think that when she returns back, we are going to continue with only three of us.
Yeah.
But tomorrow we will have another game with the English speaking guys, and I'm not sure that he even can handle DMing in English.
Yeah.
For me, it would be probably pretty tough. Even though I speak English with you, for example, on streams, I have a American friend whom I see frequently.
Yeah.
We meet each other, so I speak English frequently. He
Yeah.
doesn't, but he is exceptional, dude. Probably on
Yeah.
some. We were talking about that with you with some special people. So he made, for example, for Fate, there are several books, like 3, and they are almost identical.
Yeah.
But they are three different versions. To make a one shot, he read all 3 of them in his spare time to see what's the difference between them.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good DM. Yeah.
It is. That's a lot of work for a one shot.
It was supposed to be a one shot. Yes.
Yeah.
And he did that. I'm playing with you both. I'm
Yeah.
playing.
I think for this horror story, I have to agree with you. I mean, this player is difficult at best. I mean, that's being kind to just call them difficult. It sounds like they not only destroy the flow of the game, but they bring down the other players. That's
Yeah.
not a player I want at my table.
So you agree because
Yeah.
being in this paradigm, in this, you don't even see that something wrong. I spoke with Daria about that in DMs, and I asked her, "Is it me or he really brings the mood down?"
Yeah.
Because before that, after we played, I felt awesome for like 2 3 days. I felt awesome after each game. We only three of us were playing,
Yeah.
and we were discussing. We were sharing generated images, sharing stories. We brought those stories in the huge D&D chat
Yeah.
about our games, and we stopped doing that at all. We stopped doing anything at
Yeah.
that point. And asked her, if is it me or we have to get rid of the Steve, because I'm not having as much enjoyment, as much joy as before. And she told
Yeah.
that I can't role play this and that, and he also tries to seduce my characters, and this is also, and so she agrees with all that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
think
I
that we're
agree. I mean, it sounds like this guy, his play style just brings everybody else down. A player at the table shouldn't have to change the way they want to play their character based on another player. That's too far. If your play style is interfering with other players' enjoyment, that's not the table for you. There is a table for you with a different group, but that's not the right table for you. So Steve's
yeah,
got to go.
it's gotta go. Yeah, we are going to move and play at my place, especially since kids are going to go to the sea in the
Yeah.
middle of July, so we will have time. And after that, I hope they we will will have more space to do that, so we
Okay.
don't have to rely on his venue. But still, maybe we will be able still, because at this point, after this fate, even John, the second Alex,
Yeah.
uh, told that yeah, we are going to play without Steve.
Yeah. I think that's probably the best. And maybe you'll get back to that excitement and enjoyment again once Steve is gone. Hopefully, it
When we
hasn't damaged the relationship with the other players having him in there for so long. But we'll see. I mean, all you can do is try.
True. But we had a blast with John playing when Steve went out. Also, a little bit of a rage quit, but like, I'm going to make some tea. And we were role playing all of those moments when Minotaurus runs into a
Yeah.
golem, and I defeating the Medusa, uh, trying to show her reflection in the blade, so she gets like, turns into stone. Classic move, something
Right.
like. Yeah. And we are role playing with that, and we had a blast. As soon as Steve comes back, we are like, oh yeah. Okay, where were we? Before that, we were standing. He was showing the Minotaurus. I was like showing this. It was like in childhood. We were all there. As soon
Yeah.
as he enters, we are back in our seats on the table, and it is good.
Yeah. That's not okay. Once it starts to affect the rest of the players, you got to make a change. I hate to do it. I never like to remove somebody from one of my tables, but if it's lose the table or lose a player, I'm always going to go with the table and not the one player who's dragging them down. So I'm with you on this one, Alex. Steve's got to go.
All right. Now, when I have your opinion, this is canon now.
Yeah. As much as my opinion is worth, I would yeah, I feel like there's probably a lot to the story that happened that we don't necessarily know about because you've had these conversations with him multiple times. So I think it's just got to be said at this point. Look, we tried to get you on board multiple times, and you just don't want to. You're not changing. You're just we need to move on.
Yeah, because there are several flags.
Yeah.
I'm not calling them red flags, all right? I'm just naming them flags. So he is trying to seduce everybody. This
Yeah.
is for me. It is dumb.
It's dumb.
He
It's
can't.
not clever.
y-
I mean, you're a one trick pony. If all you can do is seduce, then what good are you to the group?
Not only seduce enemies and a
Yeah.
solution. Every time he sees any NPCs, he immediately goes to her. Whatever it means, he is
He needs to
trying
get
to
over
seduce.
whatever problem he's having in his social life and stop bringing it into the game. I think. I mean,
Maybe.
why?
I don't know.
It doesn't make sense in the game. So is he
Doesn't.
just trying to act out some real life kind of fantasy? I don't know.
I had no idea. But after that, he can't find another any solution to any situations
Yeah.
in game, and he gets mad when he fails his pretty dumb advances. Even
Yeah.
if he comes up with something when there is now nobody to seduce, he comes up with the solutions like I'm drinking the invincible potion,
Yeah.
something like that. I'm becoming like huge. Why can't I defeat all of them with just one movement of my hand? Something like that. And he begins to argue if he can't do the stupid things.
Yeah. I don't know how the DMs John and yourself even put up with it as long as you did. I would have shut him down immediately. Look, the game has rules. You don't just have mysterious potions appear that just happen to do exactly what you need them to do. That's not the way the game works. You want to have a potion that turns you into a dragon? Invent it through the rules.
Yeah, not
And
retrospectively.
then you'll have it.
Not
Yeah.
retrospectively. You can't just pull it all out
Yeah.
of your pocket.
Like,
when
oh
when
yeah,
the
last week I
time-
was working on a potion for just this thing. And it's miraculously in my backpack and it floats around and pours itself into my mouth because my arms are pinned.
there
That's
were some things like
ridiculous.
we were fighting those spiders, and he comes up with I'm drinking the potion with poison. I'm I'm throwing at them potion with a poison.
Okay.
Dude, first of all, probably you don't have a potion of poison. Like this,
Right.
not potion. It's not going to be. But is it potion of poison? Like
Yeah, like
vial
a vial of poison. Yeah.
yeah. Second of all, those are poisonous spiders, bro. They are probably immune to this poison. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are but what can I do? I can do nothing. Like, dude, you are alchemist, but probably you can support Alex because he's the one waving his sword without any help of anybody.
Yeah,
Maybe
you're
you
a
can give
druid,
some
so
potions.
how about the heal the guy who's tanking everything?
Yeah. you, well, I can't hit anybody. Like, okay, if you want to hit, maybe accidentally you have, instead of poison, you have acid. If only there was something except for poison, maybe something like acid. I don't know. And he doesn't get a clue either way. We with the DM, we were just sitting there. If only there was not poison, but something also green, maybe, or maybe something that starts with A.
Yeah, he just doesn't seem very imaginative and he just wants to
Right.
argue for nonsense. Like, all right, how about while Alex is fighting everything, you read the rule book and show me where it says you can make a magical potion appear in your backpack that you've never created or had. Find that rule for me.
Oh, a good sentence, right?
Yeah.
So I think that maybe tomorrow I will come up with two more stories because I don't know those guys.
Oh, yeah.
John was inviting, and he
Yeah, the
is-
two new people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe, hopefully they'll be great and you'll have a group together again and get rid of Steve and you'll have a group that can play together again. That would be nice.
Daria is coming back in 5 days. So
Okay. Yeah, maybe she'll get in with the group and you'll have four players instead of three to play with these
I'm
two
not
new
hosting.
guys and have a
I'm
good
not
group.
hosting in my home
That's too
a
many.
session. Yeah, too many. I'm very selective in
Who gets to
is
come
there.
in?
Yeah, who is
The
can enter
palace,
the mansion,
the mansion. Yeah. Yeah.
the hideout.
Yeah, we have one live game that I play, and we play it at our house. But I told you before that's a really big game, so we'll have anywhere between. I don't think we've ever had less than 6 total, including me, and we had up to 13 one time, including me.
Whenever I will live alone, I would probably consider inviting up to 6 people.
Yeah. Yeah, it does get a little more complicated when you have a really big group, but we've been playing for 2.5 years, so they're all pretty good about it and staying engaged in the game even when they're not fighting. And I do a lot of adventures for them where they can split the party and do different parts of the same mission. Like one can provide a distraction while the other group infiltrates or something like that.
Can they role play between them when they are not on a spotlight?
If they're separated, then I'll jump back and forth between each group and they can role play within their group.
But without your noticing.
Oh no, not without me. No.
They cannot.
I don't make them leave the room when they're
No, I mean they are in the same room, but you are talking to other people, and if they are like 10 people, even 10, not I'm 13, I can't imagine this game like that.
Yeah,
but if they are like 10 people, they probably can role play something between them when you are paying attention to.
What they generally will do is they'll strategize. So the groups, when they separate, they'll sit together, they'll move together so they can strategize quietly while the other group is doing their thing. And then when it's their turn, the other group can be strategizing what they want to do next. And I'll jump back and forth.
Okay.
They're pretty good about it. We've been doing it for a long time. So they're really good about not doing like crazy metagaming stuff and interfering with the other group. So it works well, but they've been doing it a long time.
So I'm looking forward to Daria to come back and continue awesome games. With the new DM when I don't have to prepare for games.
Yeah. And get back to the fun that you used to be having.
Right.
Excellent.
The only thing that we'll see how it's going to come up when because I always figured I don't want to DM because I always they liked it a lot because I do stuff like this social experimenting. I make some plot things every session. I prepare something special, so it felt something special. Maybe that was also the part of why we had such a blast. And I stopped doing it with this guy, and also they are going after BBEG with this guy as well. So this is another thing. I don't want to finish the campaign because otherwise they are going to be but only 2 of them against the BBEG, and he is pretty tough for 2 people. I can nerf him, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's a tough one to decide what you do. But I think once you get rid of Steve, you have to stick to your guns. You can't just have him back to finish this campaign and then kick him out. That I don't think that's fair.
True. No. This is not going to happen. No.
Yeah. I agree. He's got to go. He's not good for this group. For the group to survive and move on and have fun again playing any TTRPG together, that you got to get rid of him.
Yeah. The problem is we constantly visit his venue and he's pretty good guy outside of the game. He's okay. I
Yeah,
don't know him all that well,
yeah,
but John is in good terms with him. He hangs out. He has the co-working space,
yeah,
so John is working at is in his space. It
yeah,
is in co-working, and he leaves. Steve
yeah,
lives there also. So, and I dance there. So this is where our enthusiastic class
yeah.
group is gathering for dances
Yeah, it
and
sounds
other.
it's a difficult situation, but you're if you want your game to last and continue and be fun again, you're going to have to get rid of Steve and find a new venue probably. Because I don't think he's going to let you continue to play there if you kick him out of the group.
Uh, you underestimate my negotiating skills. I'm
Oh
really good
man.
at that.
Well,
Yeah, yeah, I'm really good at
you'll have to let us know. We'll do an update if you kick him out of the group and tell us if he still lets you be at the venue.
that. Yeah, yeah. We will come up with some solution.
So, do we have a time for another one? This
It's up to you.
this Vampire the Masquerade one,
I
it
would.
says medium. We might be able to make it through that one.
How much time do you have?
I've got about 30 minutes or so. I think we can get through it. Doesn't look that long.
All right. This is going to be another Vampire Masquerade. Hold on.
You want to introduce it and then I'll start reading it.
You could use the plastic shelves to store them. Okay. This horror story is from Busy Art 9655. And it is about you could use the plastic shelves to stop them.
You could use the plastic shelves to stop them. That's a really weird title. I can't wait to see where this is going.
Mm.
So the writer says, I was playing Vampire the Masquerade with friends and a paid storyteller, so a paid DM. The campaign started well and started getting worse in quality. So it started well, but it got worse fast.
DM was having a burnout.
Maybe. And I, just like them, only kept playing because we really cared for our characters that we had been playing for almost a year and a half. So, yeah, I'm not really sure about how this is worded. So it says the campaign started well and started getting worse in quality. So sometime along this year and a half, it started getting bad. But they stuck around because they really liked their characters. In the end, we were getting already pretty strong. My vampire, for example, had an army of modified zombies, including something like a Big Daddy from BioShock. That's pretty powerful minion. A friend was already a Ravnos Primogen. I don't know this game very well, so I don't know what that means.
At least we
but
know
sounds
Big Daddy from Bioshock.
Yeah.
So
Sounds
having
powerful,
an
though.
army of zombies and a Big Daddy from Bioshock sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, they've got a pretty powerful group that they've leveled
Of
up to this point. So we went from a bunch of weak neonates, which are new vampires, newly turned, to Ancillay, so strong that we rivaled the elders. All right, so they're like end game level, I'm guessing, from the description. But the storyteller didn't deal with this power creep, even though we gave him advice. All right, so they're advising the DM how to run them in their game. Don't know if I like that much, but let's keep going.
I don't like that.
Yeah,
I don't like that. I don't like when he told that it is starting to get in worse in quality. What do you mean by quality? You are making the game with the storyteller or DM.
yeah, you're responsible for the
partially,
quality.
yeah, as well as he.
Yeah, I agree. It sounds like this person who's describing it.
It is not a product. This is not a final product.
he's telling the DM how to run the game, and he's running his character too. So why don't you just DM then?
Also, the army of zombies. All right. As cool as it sounds, I'm not sure that it is very interesting to. I don't know. Do you have? Did you have an army in your games? Somebody to gather
No,
an army.
when you do stuff like that, and maybe it's different in Vampire Masquerade. For
I don't
example,
think so.
maybe the whole army of zombies acts as one creature. Um, if it acts as individual creatures, you've just taken combat down to a crawl because you have to roll for every one of this army. I don't know Vampire the Masquerade very well, so
This is
maybe they roll
basically
for
a
the
little
whole
bit
army
like that.
once, like a swarm of rats, as opposed to 10 separate rats.
Well, yeah, but still, this is kind of dragging a little bit this heroic or Vampire Masquerade running an army in Vampire the Masquerade. It
Yeah.
doesn't sound all of that lore heavy, the atmospheric.
Yeah. It sounds like the DM has let them go wild with their characters and develop these very powerful characters. And it seems like this person writing this is saying that they're not doing a good job of keeping the game
Handling.
balanced, right?
Yes,
Because they've
yes.
got an army now at their disposal. So what does he throw against them that can fight an army?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So anyway, another session day, we had been put in a situation where a horde of about 20 newly embraced vampires attacked us. And the NPC that was supposed to help with the mission, you have an army and the BioShock dude, what do you need an NPC to help for? So the NPC that was supposed to help with the mission, one of the many of the storyteller's favorite NPCs, literally just bailed and left us there. Shouldn't be a problem. You have an army.
Yeah, they have the right. They have a freedom of choice as
Yeah.
well as you are.
The DM runs the NPCs. If you don't want him running your characters, then leave the NPCs alone.
Yeah, they can betray you also.
Sure.
Surprise, surprise.
So there was me, practically a war necromancer. I had Fortitude, Oblivion 5, Celerity 4, Potence 3, Auspex 5, Blood Potency 3. I guess these are all high level skills.
Those
Again,
are
I don't know a
numbers
lot
for
about
me.
the game, but
For me,
I
those
think
are
the
just
point they're
numbers.
making is they're super powerful, but somehow they can't function without this NPC.
Hold on one second.
Okay. Sorry, guys, I'm not an expert on Vampire the Masquerade. So you guys can chime in if you're watching this and explain some of these rules if you want. It might help to clarify it for some of our listeners or viewers. So this person lists off all these massive skills that they have and was about to develop my own discipline. Yes, the storyteller didn't control experience points properly either. So basically, this player's admitting that he's taking advantage of the DM here. So I'm not really that fond of this player. He's complaining about the guy he's taking advantage of. At the same time, he's admitting taking advantage of him. I'm sorry, player. We'll read the rest of your story, but you may be the problem. Besides me,
Potentially.
yeah, eventually. Besides me, the characters of my friends were a Ravnos, a Salubri, a Malk, and an old clan Simish, I think. That's how you pronounce it. All strong, but none exactly resistant due to how much I had invested in combat. So this person basically built their character for combat, and the rest of them didn't. Our first instinct was to throw a grenade in and kill the incoming horde. And the storyteller made a point of narrating that all of them jumped over the explosion in sync and funneled us into a basement. Sounding a little railroady.
Yeah, very railroady.
Yeah. Like, how did they all jump over unless they're a hive mind of
In a
some
sync.
sort? Yeah, they're in sync. They're like a boy band that got turned into vampires.
You remembered NSYNC.
NSYNC. Yeah. Maybe these are vampires, so maybe they're V-Sync.
Yes.
Which is funny because the scene he narrated didn't seem like we were in a basement, but on the ground floor of a factory. Okay, well, if you're on the ground floor and there is a basement, then you're near it,
Pretty much.
right? Or maybe you just weren't listening because you were taking notes for your horror story. I don't know. Anyway, the monsters start coming and it got ridiculous because there were like 7 monsters hitting me, 8 on the Malk, and the rest scattered. As they hit, more came. We tried to argue that in vampire lore, this wouldn't happen. Okay, so again, you're trying to tell the DM how the thing should go. So I guess DM yourself and play yourself, and then you can have it all your way.
Yeah. Do
because-
not tell DM how to run the game. He is a demigod.
Yeah,
He
I don't.
controls the environment. You
Yeah,
don't
just
you don't tell
fight.
developers of games how to make games
Yeah,
during playing.
yeah. I mean, if you want to run your own game, run your own game. But this is the way these are behaving in this world. You also said that you were taking advantage of the rules and power building your character around the DM. So you took advantage of the rules. Now he is, or went
True.
around them.
True.
Um,
You both have choice, have a right to do this. So okay.
Exactly. All right. So he goes on to further explain because the newly embraced would beat each other up. So he wants the enemies to fight each other instead of fighting him. The way he narrated it would be impossible for more than one of those vampires to hit us. But the storyteller was openly not caring and planned the encounter badly. I don't like this player's commentary. Do it my way or don't DM is what he's saying.
We are judges here, not you.
Yes. You don't get to judge this DM. We do.
Yes.
Anyway, we got out of that situation thanks to the Salubri. Only after thinking about it post-session and sending our feedback, we started to see how ridiculous it was. So they're chatting afterward, bashing the DM. One of the arguments was there were shelves on the walls. You could have used shelves. Like, I don't know, but it doesn't seem like plastic shelves would hold back a frenzied vampire horde. But you yourself said that these vampires should have just been fighting themselves, and you guys should have all just been, filing down your nails or something?
What plastic shelves? They were shelves on the walls. You could have used the shelves for what?
I'm guessing he means to block their approach. Like they could have
plastic
put the
shelves.
shelves in front of them to keep the vampires from getting to them. I don't know. That sounds like a silly solution for this problem. I don't know. It sounds a little weird, but this is a game. The DM puts things in your path to fight, and you fight them. If you just want to complain about everything the DM's doing, get a different DM, DM yourself, or leave this game.
Oh. Yes.
This is an incredible level of complaining for a person who's having a game run for them.
a lot of complaining. Even though the DM has some issues as well, he is a like allowing them to have a zombie horde, and after that can't balance it out. So
Yeah,
don't let
I'm
them
not.
have this many zombies.
Yeah, I'm not saying that the DM is completely blameless in this situation. He obviously was too lenient with the players. He let them power their characters up to a level where he couldn't put anything against them. And then he kind of railroaded
Yeah.
to balance. He
Yeah.
railroaded them a little bit to balance out the encounter. But this player is just toxic.
Toxic.
They're definitely toxic. All he does is complain about everything, but then makes a point to say that he took advantage of this DM's lack of knowledge.
But you also take advantage of the DM's lacks of things.
Yeah, I don't like this at all.
But you do that. Don't you do that?
I don't. I mean, I wouldn't take advantage of the DM's lack of knowledge. I'm just not that kind of player. Even if I know a rule is wrong, if we're playing in a game and somebody else is DMing, I might read the description to them and say, here's how this spell works. That way it can't be misinterpreted. But if they say it doesn't work, then I assume they made a saving throw or something.
No. I don't. I thought that taking advantage was not that. It is next to cheating. Not next, okay, but it is somewhat of a cheating at this point. I was talking about taking advantage when DM is allowing you something to do something, and his lack of knowledge doesn't know that you're going to become really powerful.
Yeah.
But using the rules of the book or rules the DM gave you, allowed you.
Yeah.
This advantage, I meant. Not that you straight up lie to him.
Yeah.
This is nonsense. I don't want to know how all of the spells work. I'm relying on player to tell me how it works.
Yeah.
And if he lies to me and he says that it works, it makes 5d16 damage, this is not advancing. This is cheating.
Yeah, exactly. And it sounds like this guy was willing to do things that were outside the rule to make his player his character more powerful, but then complains that the DM can't balance it for these characters that they made powerful by bending the rules. I don't like this at all. This is a toxic player. One of the arguments, I read that already. He also hadn't let our characters prepare, removed any NPC support, even though the NPC was interested in the case. I'm sorry, you don't get to argue about whether an NPC is involved or not. You've got an army. You've got an army. So he took the NPC away to balance the encounter. You just said he sucked at balancing the encounter, and then you complained when he did something to balance the encounter.
Steve, log in.
Exactly. Is this Steve? It might be.
Steve, bruh, I didn't know that you know Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah. So the DM literally, or I guess they're called storyteller in Vampire the Masquerade. The storyteller literally neutralized any use of our disciplines and then kept arguing that looks like your combo can't save you. Even though I never min-maxed. Well, you said at the beginning that you did min-max.
What? You never min-maxed?
It sounded like he was saying he min-maxed at the beginning, and now he's saying he didn't. He just had so much experience points over time, which he also complained that the DM mishandled experience. So this is a toxic player. And besides that, what's that?
contradicting himself. Is
Yeah.
it two different people, two different persons writing this post?
I don't think so, unless maybe they have like two personalities.
Yeah, Billy Milligan.
Yeah. And then besides that, the storyteller made the point of neutralizing everyone somehow in the room and teleporting us to a basement because he didn't remember there was a basement or didn't know there was a basement. They must have
Yeah.
teleported there, I guess. He's
Mhm.
trying to be funny, but he's just being a jerk. He is. He's being a jerk. I don't like the way this player is acting. I don't. After a long time and the relationship with the storyteller already hanging by a thread due to in-game and out-of-game behavior, like starting to hang out with some very sketchy people and other red flags. So now, wait, is
he doesn't even like that who this DM is hanging out.
he's deciding who this person can hang out with outside the game?
Yes.
Whoa. Red
Yeah.
flag. Red flag on the play.
This is control freaky.
Yeah, this is a control freak. He then goes on to say that this storyteller even narrated rape, even with one of the players getting uncomfortable and arguing that this is a world of darkness. So, like, one of the players said, "Hey, that's going too far," when the storyteller narrated a rape scene. He said that's going too far, or they said that's going too far, and the DM kind of doubled down on that. I don't agree with that. If that's too
No.
far, that's too far.
Not cool.
Yeah, that you don't need to go there. We know it's a world of darkness. You don't need to take it that far.
Even if you do want to have it in your game, which I actually don't, I would not want that
Yeah,
in game when I participate. But all right. But Fade to Black.
yeah,
Immediately.
I would fade to black, and I would apologize to the player that was offended and say, okay, we won't go to that subject again. I agree. So they quit, he says, because of this, because of all these red flags, they quit. And this group of friends became my players. So this writer becomes their DM. And it became a meme among us that plastic shelves are the most indestructible things on the planet. I agree that there were some problems with this DM, that maybe they weren't that great of a DM. I agree. They didn't seem to understand the rules. They were too lenient, letting the players power level themselves to the point where the game got out of control.
And after that, got really passive aggressive with all that narrating. I think that he knew that it was uncomfortable, but he became really aggressive towards them. Probably they played on his nerves way too far.
So I have to believe too, there's probably a lot of conversation going on behind the scenes about this, right? So they're probably in the DMs raging about him or accusing him of stuff. And maybe he's just getting a little fed up of having this toxic player constantly questioning everything he does.
Yes.
I'm not perfect as a DM, far from it. I'll make mistakes. I will discuss those mistakes. I don't want to spend 20 minutes of game time discussing a rule. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to have 5 players, 6 players, however many players I have sitting around doing nothing while one player is arguing a rule for 20 minutes. I will say, all right, we're going to table that. I will research the rule. You can send me any support material you want me to see regarding this rule, and I will change my ruling next session. But we're going to move on with the game right now. That's what we're here to do. We're here to play a game. We're not here to rewrite the DM's guide. So we're not going to do that. It's for everyone. The game is for everyone, not just you. That said, I think the DM has issues. They should know the rules better. They should have better preparation. They should know the experience points better, and be able to balance their game better. 100%. I agree with all of that. That said, this player is wrong. He's toxic and he's done nothing to help this game along. All he does is complain about everything this DM does.
I take 1 minute. Can you look real quick through comments if anybody supports the player, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
In the-
Yeah, I'm not really seeing. I'm seeing a lot of people. I don't know that they necessarily agree with the player or the DM specifically, but I see a lot of comments in here about how Vampire the Masquerade is bad. The rules, the DM guides or storyteller guides, whatever you
Oh.
call them, it's bad at helping storytellers prep for combat because it's generally bad at group combat in general. It seems to be a pretty big
Mm.
consensus that group combat is problematic in this game for anyway. I see a few people agree with, or at least one or two people, about where he said narrating the rape event and not backing down when the player said they were uncomfortable with it. I agree with that too. I think you should know your players' lines and veils, and you should do your best not to go over them.
Not go over them. That this is, I think that it is consensus that stuff
Yes.
like that is not very. It is for most people. It is not comfortable. There are some things that you can incorporate in the games that some people can be not comfortable, but they are a little bit too whiny. But this one is definitely something that everybody can agree. It is not comfortable for everybody.
Yeah.
This is too messed up.
A lot of the comments are just talking about lore. And I'm sorry, but the storyteller determines the lore. I don't care what the books say. I don't. Otherwise, there's no room for homebrew in anything. You just want to play the rule book. Play the rule book. That's not my game. If you want to have different lore in your own game, then run your own game, which this guy did do. So I'll give him credit for that.
Yes.
Because this
Finally, your
guy
device
should not be a
heard.
player anymore. He shouldn't be a
For
player.
example, about the lore that Artman XP also. Cheers to you, bro. For our previous stream, he said about the Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah.
And that's not a thing in Vampire the Masquerade. The water thing only is a thing in you take flow. Is only a thing if you take flow that your vampire believes it.
Oh,
do you remember that the stream in water, the moving water
the
destroys
moving
vampires?
water thing?
Yeah.
I said
He
that
says
was
that it was not
probably a
happening.
pop culture thing that maybe isn't in the game. Good to know.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. Um, yeah, I don't really see. Oh, here's one. I agree. Living definition 253 says, I agree with everything that's been said here. I just wanted to add the opposite observation that it's a paid game on top of everything that happened. It's pretty mind-boggling to me that you would stay for so long when there were so many clear issues. Probably hindsight is 2020, but it seems wild to me to ask for money for such a low quality game. Um, I agree.
Quality.
I agree. I think if you're a paid DM, you should give a better quality game than this. And I do agree that this DM has issues. Maybe I don't know if they don't understand the system well. It sounds like a lot of people are defending them that the system isn't built to be run this way. Um, so it made it very difficult on him the way that they ran these characters. But I agree. But this player is toxic. He's complaining about everything. I get rules or the way XP is handled. If you think XP is handled wrong, then tell the DM. Don't just take advantage of it and power level your character and then complain that he did it wrong.
I handled XP not all that much. I didn't even give XP at first to my players. They never complained about that, and they
Yeah.
never even suggested me to do that. But when I did that, they thought, "Oh, thanks God, our DM finally
Yeah.
finally started to give us XP," and they were like cheering. They were
Yeah.
glad. This is
Yeah.
this is what I'm talking about. They
Yeah.
were waiting
I
for
get
it,
it.
but they didn't even bring it to me. They didn't even like when we are going to level up. They didn't even
Yeah.
mention that. We were
Yeah.
like 2-3 sessions never leveling up because I just maybe 2-3 sessions we never
Yeah.
leveling up. I didn't manage to XP at all. At some point, I just started to add it.
Yeah.
Only then
I use milestone experience. So they have to accomplish certain things to level up within the campaign. So
yeah, okay.
that
And do you
that just
remember
happened.
about the magic stuff, magic devices like weapons and the loot in general that I did
Yeah.
never prepared it at all? I know it is bad.
Yeah.
I think that they know that it is bad. They never complained about that. Never said a word about it. We are not
That's
getting
impressive.
any alert.
I think most groups will I don't think most of my groups ask every time if they level, but they do ask a lot. Most of them do.
Never. And for loot also. One time I gave them like a few golds.
Yeah.
It was like 40 goals for accomplishing a big mission.
Yeah.
There, oh, we are getting loot. Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
I'm
I
pretty
can't
good.
believe that.
I wouldn't say that I'm too lenient with loot, but I will they will find stuff if they're searching. If they just fight everything and they forget to loot the bodies or they never investigate or search anywhere, then they're not going to find anything. But if they
The
do,
worst thing is they loot, they search for stuff. They specifically search.
yeah,
I'm looting. I'm searching for chests
yeah,
and stuff like that. Yeah, you will find something, and after
yeah,
that, I have time to prepare. And the loot is in the last shelf of my. It is the last point which I will come up with, and I don't have time for that. And
yeah.
so you got a candelier.
I try to plan specific loot for the group. And what I'll do is when I create a homebrew, I'll put loot in places. And if they search for it, they'll find it if they roll high enough. Sometimes I'll change out those items because I don't know who's going to play the campaign when I'm creating the campaign. So, like,
This is completely on me. This is my fault as the DMing. But after
yeah.
that, I gave up the XP much better
Here, I'll give
than
you a piece of advice or a best practice or a trick. Okay. Always have the DM's guide or whatever you use for loot in your game. There's some good resources like Griffin's Saddlebag 2 has pretty cool loot in it. the DM's guide. You could just have the new DM's guide. So what you do is just, if they decide to investigate, even if you didn't plan for a loot to be there, but they searched it and they rolled like a 20 or above, then let them find something. But the new DM guide is divided up. The random tables are divided up by rarity. So if you think this is kind of a lame place to put a valuable item, then you can have something that's common there.
I'm so hesitant about that. This is, yeah, and I am judging myself about
Yeah.
that. And they are not, and they are allowing
Yeah.
that.
I
They
wouldn't
are-
worry too
they are
much about
lenient.
them getting overpowered by these items, because
No, I just,
Yeah.
I'm too lazy to give that to them. I don't do that on session because mostly the fights is the last thing we do in the session. So I always tell them that next session I will tell you what you got, and
Yeah.
it never happens.
and you
Never.
forget. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't do that. We just, if they search, some stuff I have planned, it's here. And if you don't search here, you're not going to find it. If you do search here, then you'll find it. And then other stuff I'll allow. If they make a crazy high roll, I'll just have an item be there, and I'll determine based on the circumstances what I think it should be.
yeah. Looting
Sometimes
is such
it's random.
loot is such an important part of D&D, and I as well as XP. Yeah, it is.
I tend to like
Of
to give
any
them
RPG.
at least weapons early on, like in the first 3 or 4 levels. I like to give them each a weapon that's magical, because pretty
Yeah.
soon by level 5, they're fighting stuff that you need a magical weapon to even hit them, or they're resistant to non-magical damage. So I want at least some of them to be able to have magical weapons before that. Otherwise, I feel like it's my fault if they are struggling through combats. Right? Because they're still
Yeah.
using the short sword from character creation.
Covering
so-
my head with ashes.
Yeah,
With
yeah, absolutely. So this one, do you agree? I think the paid DM needs to be better prepared and run a better game, especially if they want to get paid for it. But this player needs to chill.
yeah, they're both sides.
I think so. I
Found
think there's
each
enough
other.
blame on this one to go around.
Yeah, yeah.
I
They found
hope-
each other.
I hope this guy, the writers, new group, because he said he's DMing or being the storyteller now. I hope his group doesn't treat him the way he treated this DM.
Or they do treat him, and he sees how it looks.
Maybe. I'm not a very vindictive person. I hope they have a great campaign and this guy is a great storyteller and everybody's having fun, because I want
It
them
is
to
not
have fun.
Vendetta. It is not Vendetta. It is more
Yeah.
of a teaching a lesson.
Yeah, it's true. Sometimes people have to learn a lesson by living it.
Yeah.
And he forced this storyteller to live it. So maybe he should have to too. But
True.
yeah. All right. I think is that it for today?
Sure.
That was good. I really enjoyed hearing your story. I like it when I hear a story straight from the person. And I think in your case, Steve needs to go. He needs to find a different table or something, start his own game, whatever he wants to do. But he's wrong for your game. And I think in the second one, I think both of them have some work to do. I think the player needs to chill and try to enjoy the game a little bit and stop antagonizing everybody. And I think the DM needs to be a little better prepared as well.
Totally agree. I can't add much. Yeah, I also like this today. I hope someday you will come up with another story by yourself as well. But I know that
I know
there is a,
it's difficult for me because
Difficult
I
for
don't
you.
want to talk about players in my current games, or recent players. I just don't want to do that because I am a professional DM, and I don't want people to think that I'm just trolling our games for horror stories. I've got a lot of them. Trust me. I run
Oh, you
12
do?
I run
Oh,
12 to
yes.
15 games a week. I have stories.
You have to invite me in one where there are that player as a guest, and I will tell the story,
You
and you
tell
will
the
not
story.
suffer.
And
Yeah.
I can be like, I don't know this guy.
I don't know who he is talking about. Maybe some of your real life games. Yeah, might be. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can talk about like general things or like, but I just don't want to get too specific with the stories in depth like these stories.
All right. I will supply some horror stories. You will
Awesome.
be the judgmental guy.
Yeah.
That's
Sounds
fine.
good to me.
That's
All right. Until next time, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. We love to have your input. And if you have a horror story, either write it down and send it to us, or come on and tell it yourself. And we will judge you and them, and we'll tell you who's wrong.
Yeah, if you have a good mic, though.
Got to have a good mic. We can't have bad quality product for our viewers and listeners. All right. Until next week, happy 4th of July, Americans. Everybody else, we'll wish you a happy Independence Day whenever your day is.